Good afternoon. I hope I am audible. Uh, we will start with the demonstration part today. So just hold on for a bit so that I can connect the video. So let's start. Sorry, I did not realize I was on mute. Okay, so there are multiple pattern techniques that are there. That the course of this course, we are essentially talking about three basic patterns that is there: the basic bodice, basic skirt, and basic sleeve. Now, there are multiple pattern making techniques. There is one technique that is there in your uh, practical workbook that is given to you from India, which you can download online. There is another technique that is what I'm going to take you through today. You can follow either one of that. It is absolutely fine which one you find comfortable working with. Uh, However, in the pattern that the pattern that you'll be making, the size that you would take, you can take there is a measurement chart. If you look at your practical workbook, you'll see there is a measurement chart there of size 12. You can either take up size 12 as a measurement chart, or you can pick up the measurements that you took for your exercise one. For exercise one, you had to take the measurements of your one of your friend, and you made the pattern, made the the measurement chart. You can take those measurements as well. Here, I am making a scale down pattern. So, of course, on the basis of what you are taking, I am simply going to make it make the pattern in a scale down format so that it fits into the video. The measurements that you would need to make a bodice, we'll start with the bodice part. The measurements that we need to make the bodice is the bust cut. So for now, I am going to work with the measurements for size 8. Now for size 8, the bust cut generally comes around 35 to 36 inches, assuming I'm taking 35 inches. Um, I would need the center back length. Now the center back length for size 8 comes around um, 16 and a half inch approximately. Uh, Apart from that, I need the shoulder length. The shoulder length is about 3 by 4 to 5 inches, assuming I take 5 inches. Uh, the neck girth, the neck girth is 15 inches, and the distance between the bust points, this comes around 7.5 inch. These are the measurements for size 8. You can take either whatever measurements that you want to take. We will start by making a rectangle. The measurement of this rectangle is such that the measurement of this rectangle would be such that this total, the height of this rectangle is equal to the center back length plus 3 by 4 inch. So for this, I have 16.5 inch. I would add another 3 by 4 inch to it, and this would be the length. The width of this is first curve. I'll add 2 inches to it, and I divide it by 2. So here it is 35 inches. I add 2 inches to it, so this becomes 37 divided by 2. Now I'll take this rectangle and I divide it into two parts, two equal parts. So in this very rectangle, I'm going to make the front and back. So half front and half back. This side would be the right side would be the front, and the left side would be the back. Now the first measurement that I'm going to take is a measurement which would give I'll take from the neck curve. So from the corner, the top right corner, I'm going to take neck girth divided by 5. So for here it is 50. So neck girth divided by 5 would be about 3 inches. So I'll mark this here. I'll also mark neck girth divided by 5 on this side. So on both the sides I'm marking neck girth by 5. Here again mark neck girth by 5 from this point. And from the top, we will mark 3 by 4 inch. Now, this point, essentially, this 3 by 4 inch point will make my nape point. These 2 points, which will be my HSP, the high shoulder points, and this will be the neck point. From this onwards, we start making the pattern. Now, first from the top, I mark a point which is 1.5 inch down at the center line. And this point is essentially the point wherein we take our shoulder slope line. As you would realize, the in the body, the shoulder is a little sloped. So when we see a garment, shoulder looks a little like this. So this is generally how a bodice looks like with the darts like this, but the shoulder looks a little sloped. So this is the shoulder slope. So to make this down, we are going down by 1.5 inch. Now from this point, from the HSP point, we will make a line which is equal to the shoulder length, for here it is 5 inches, ensuring that it touches just the shoulder line. I'll do the same for the back. Now we will take the first level. Take the first level. I'll take the center of the center front distance. Now from here in the bottom, this is the center front length. I'm going to take the center of this. So this is the center of this. This will be my bust level. And then inch above this, I'm going to make another line. This line will be my armhole level. So the mid-level line is the bust level, and this is my armhole level. Now I'm going to shape the armhole. So to shape the armhole, I'm going to take the scale, draw some 90 degrees here, another 90 degree here. I'm going to take the French curve. So of course this is a scale down version, so this doesn't fit. So the French curve has to be placed like this for the front and this for the back. So I place the French curve such that I get a nice curve for the armhole. Here again, we place the French curve like this so that you get a nice curve for the armhole. For the neck, we are going to place the neck French curve like this. So when you place the French curve like this, again we make some 90 degrees so that curves are smooth. So here again, we make some 90 degrees. The French curve to be placed here like this. And we make the curve. Now we're going to take this, what we made now at this point is called the dartless block. It's a dartless block, bodice block. We're going to take this dartless bodice block and we are going to convert it into a darted block. So I'm going to use another color for this. So for this, the first thing I'm going to do is to identify the bust point. So the distance between the bust points is 7.5 inch. So that is from here to here will be 7.5. So because we are making half of it, we have to take half of this measurement. So if we divide 7.5 into by 2, it gives me 3.5. So that is the measurement that we are going to take. So here I am going to mark on the bust level the first point. So this becomes my first point. Second thing we are going to do is that we are going to shape out the side seams a little. Okay. So from the center point, we are going to go inside by 1 3 by 8 inch. Again, on the back, we are going to go by 1 3 by 8 inch. We take these 2 points, 1 3 by 8 inches away, and we draw the side seam. Next, from the bust point, we are going to draw a straight line, and here we are going to make our first dart. And we have to understand how much should be the dart intake. To calculate the dart intake, what we should do is, so we have to take our girth at this point. So for size 8, the waist girth comes around 25 inches. So which is, so for one pattern, this comes as 1/4 of it. So this should be 1/4. We should split it into 1/4 of it, which, so waist girth divided by 4 comes here to be 6 1 by 4 inch. So my ready waist should be 6 4 by 1 inch. However, right now I have taken this width as 35 plus 2 inch divided by 2, which is 37 by 2, which is 18 and a half inch. Now this is essentially half of that 18, that half of this rectangle. So this distance right now was 9 1 by 4 inch. We already reduced this much from it. We are left with the balance 1 by 5 by 8 inch. Now this 1 5 by 8 inch will be marked equally on both the sides of the center line that we dropped from the first point. We go down by 1 inch from this point and we complete the dart. I do the same for the back. I will take the same measurement here, but here we will take it on the armhole level. We draw the center line, go down by 1 inch, mark the distances, and complete the dart. Next, we have to make a shoulder dart. To make the shoulder dart, the first thing I do is identify the center of the shoulder. So from the center of the shoulder, I will join the first point straight. Now this next point, for the next point, the dart intake, the shoulder dart is this dart is generally of 7 centimeters. Now this shoulder, to make this 7 centimeter dart, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark a distance. So I'm going to take an arc and mark a distance of 7 centimeters. So for example, if I take the scale like this and mark the 7 centimeter distance, I'll get a arc like this. So I'm going to take this distance and I'm going to rotate it so that it creates another arc. Wherever this two joins, I'm going to take this point. Now from this point, I'm going to I'll go up by 1 inch. I'm going to make this line. Now from here, I'm going to make a 90 degree. From this line, I'm going to make another 90 degree and take the measurement of the rest of the shoulder. What I'm left with is this becomes, so I place the armhole French curve another time like this. Again, make a 90 degree here and we complete the armhole. The red mark creates the dotted top. With this one, again, I create a center point. Now, Here I will make a small dart. Uh, so I'll make a 90 degree of only 3 inches. 3 inches. I'll make another arc of 1.5 centimeter here. So here it was 7 centimeter intake. So just 1.5. We make another arc of 3 inches like this so that it intersects. And then I take another 90 degree to create the rest of the shoulder. I match it with the original shoulder and this completes the back of the dart. So this creates the bodice block. So once this is done, there is the second part to it is to make this dart. So something we call as truing of darts. Essentially, if I cut the dart straight, it will not exactly fit. So to ensure that the dart fits properly, I'll have to tree this dart. So how do I do that? I cut it out and I'll show you. So first, I will cut through the center. Now I will fold the darts. So how do I fold the dart? First, I fold at the dart ends, so like this. This is the first dart leg, the center, the part towards the center is the first dart leg. I fold the first dart leg till wherever the dart is, and I place it over the second dart leg. I get a small peak here. We take the French curve to blend this peak like this, and I'll take the tracing wheels and run the tracing wheel over this blended line. Now see what will happen when once I cut it on this blended line. I'm cutting full right now. You can see there is a small peak that is happening. This will ensure that when I stitch the dart, nothing goes out. It is stitched straight on the back. If I do not do this, it will go out. Next, we also need to glue the dart on the top. So we will again hold this point, hold dart like one, and place it on dart like two. I will run the tracing wheel on this. I will cut it on this line. Let me cut it and I'll show you. Once I cut it out, see I get a small peak here. I'll do the same for the back as well. So we'll start with this back. Place it on that first two. Then the tracing wheel. And then we cut it on this. Get a small piece. And do the same here. Just a smaller back. fold it, turn the tracing wheel, and say, cut it out, and open it. I should get a small piece here. Just quickly cut the rest. At the back, I'll just cut the neckline and the center back. Front also, I will just cut the center front and the neck. Mhm. Now, here I will fold this one of the pattern of 1 3 by 8 line. So like this, I take this 1 3 by 8 line, fold it, place it on another pattern. Now I'm getting a small peak here where these two lines are joining. So I'll take the French curve, ensuring that I get a smooth line here. So I'll take the French curve, ensure that this becomes smooth. And I'll now use this red line to cut the pattern. Out the side panel of 1 3 by 8 and the armhole on the red line. I will take this one also, cut it on the curve which that we created, the side seam, the armhole. Again, to ensure that we cut on the red line, also the blue line. And this completes the bodice block. There are certain information which should be written on a bodice pattern. So what is this information? These are the working patterns. These are not the production pattern. The production pattern should come with all the seams and everything. The working pattern. Now there is few information that should come here. First is a green line. The green line is always parallel to the center front and the center back. In this case, center front for the front. Straight line with arrows on both the head. It will ensure that the pattern is cut parallel to the selvage. Actually, information that has to be written on it. What are this information? First is the name of the pattern. It is basic started bodice. It is the front panel. I have made it for size 8. You can make it for any size. This one I am making cut one by because the design that we made here was so that the front was continuous. So this would be cut one, but this would be on fold. What do I mean by that? I'll fold the fabric and I will cut it once so that I get a complete pattern which will be, a continuity of this pattern. For the back, I'll again write basic bodice, back, sizing. But for this, I'll type cartoon because the design will need to have an opening. So I will assume that the opening will be on the back with some zipper maybe or some sort of buttoning. So this is what will the first setup bodice will look like. So whatever technique you follow, you can follow this technique or you can follow the technique that is there in your um, practical workbook. Either way, you should get a pattern like this wherein you have waist darts, shoulder darts, and some shapes for armhole and your neckline. Your pattern should come up something like this. Coming to the next section, which is skirt. We make a skirt. For the skirt, we will take certain measurements. We will need certain measurements. The measurements that you would need for a skirt pattern is firstly, we again making a basic straight skirt, basic fitted skirt as we call it. So the first measurement that we need is the waist girth. So again, working with size 8, we already did the, for this, we know the size 8 waist girth is 25 inches. So we do that. We would need the hip girth. The hip girth for size 8 is 36 inches. We need the hip level, that's 27 inches. And then we need the full length that we would need for the skirt. For a basic skirt, basic fitted skirt is generally made till the knee level. The knee level is 22 inches from the waist. So we are going to make a skirt just 22 inches long. So to do this, we will start again with making a box, a rectangular box. So here again, we are making the pattern for half front and half back. So now the measurement of this is the length, the height of this rectangle is the full length of the skirt. So in this case, we are taking this as 22 inches. The width of the rectangle is on the basis of the hip girth. So again, we are taking hip girth, we add 2 inches to it and divide it by 2. So in this case, 36 plus 2 by 2. So 38 divided by 2, which is 19 inches. To take this measurement, we take this rectangle and we again divide it into two parts, just like we did for borders. So on the right, we are going to make the uh, front, and on the left, we are going to make the back. From the top, we are going to mark 7 inches from hip level. Next, from the sides, we are going to take again so that the side seams match. Just hold on for a moment. From the corner, we are going to go inside again for both the sides by 1 3 by 8 inches, 1 3 by 8 inches. So you get this 2 points on both the sides. Again, to understand the dart intake, how do we calculate it? We have the hip cut, so this is now half of 19, which is 9.5 inches. This is right now 9.5 inches. We have to ensure that it gets fitted into 6 1 by 4 or waist girth by 4 inches. So it's waist girth by 4. Again, the difference comes around to be 1 7 by 8 inches. The dart intake. So we subtract 1 single lead from 9.5, and from that we again subtract 6.5 from 6 1 by 4 inches. So that will give me the dart intake. that comes around 0.7 by 8 inches. So to mark this, what I'm going to do is take the borders, take this distance wherever my first start leg was, mark it, and from here I'm going to mark the 1.7 by 8 distance, the dark intake distance. Take the center of this and drop it perpendicular to the hip level. And this you're going to take 3.5 inch and complete the part. We're going to do the same for the back, wherein we're going to mark this distance. Take 1.7 by 8 from here. Take the center, drop it perpendicularly, and take a distance of 5.5 inch in this case, and complete the dot. In the center line, beneath the side seam, we go up by 2 inches, mark that point. From the side where we had marked 1.3 by 8 inches, we mark up by 1 by 4 inch. Again, we mark up by 1 by 4 inch. Now, we take the French curve once like this, another time like this, and connect these two points. Once like this, another time like this, to complete it. Now, the front waist also has to be taken a little down. So, we take it down by 1/2 inch. At this point, I make a small 90 degree. Now, again, we need to do the queuing of the dart. So, to do the queuing of the dart, here we have to do it. The entire front back has to be done together. So the first thing I'll do is I'll just cut it in the center. So that I can separate out the front and the back. And turn it around like this. Then I'll show you. First, I'll fold the dart just like we did for the body. Okay. Keep the shirt complete. The first dart legs are always towards the center front or the center back. The second dart legs are towards the side seam. It's always first dart legs towards the second dart leg, which means the darts are always folded towards the side seam. So that is how we do it. So both the darts are folded here. I fold also one of the sides like this. And then now I start blending. I take the French curve, blend this first so that everything together here, the sides connected. And when I blend it, I will ensure that it comes under one smooth line. So like this, goes to the side seam, it's blended at the side seam. I start from the 1/2 inch point, extending the side seam and doing the blending with another color so that it becomes easier for you to understand. From the same red line that is there, I blend this one too. And it becomes one smooth line. Now I will run the tracing wheel on this red lines. And once I cut it, small peaks should happen. I'll cut out the rest. Hold on a moment. This is how the back looks. So cut it. Front also I'm showing. This is how the front looks. This creates a pattern for the front and back. Uh, like the bodice, you also need to write three things on this pattern. What are the things that has to be written? It starts with the grain line. The grain line has to be always parallel to the center front and the center back. First, we mark the grain lines for both the front and back. We write the information. This one is a basic fitted shirt. Let me just take a pen. This is the front panel, the right front, made for size and it's a size. Now here I'll write cut one because I would like to make it unfold because a skirt panel generally, a skirt design generally looks like this for the front and this for the back as well. So it can be is continuous from both for the front with a zipper that happens around the side here. So I will make both as unfolds. Here also I'll write basic fitted skirt, back, size 8, a front, and an unfold sign. So this completes the skirt pattern as well. We create the bodice and the skirt. Once you have these two, we create the third pattern, that is the sleeve, the basic sleeve pattern. To make the basic sleeve, what are the measurements that you would need? First, of course, we need the sleeve length. So the sleeve length is generally taken from the shoulder point to the tip of the wrist. Now, for size 8 again, this is generally 21 3 by 4 inch. Uh, we need another measurement which we call as arm sky. Arm sky is generally front arm whole length plus back arm whole length. Now I will take this measurement from the bodice itself so that the sleeve fits into the bodice. You should take always take this measurement, arm sky measurement from the pattern of bodice that you made. The bodice has to be made before. So you make the bodice and from that you take the measurement and make it. Take the front arm plus the back arm full and get the arm sky measurement. So now with this, we start making the pattern. First, we make a straight line. The straight line is equal to the length of the sleeve. Now, when we make patterns for sleeve, something is very important here is the measurement of the something we call as the cap height or the measurement of the cap. So, what is a cap height? Cap height essentially is what decides how the garment fits. So, you must have seen sleeves का जब cutting होता है sleeve pattern looks something like this. The cut looks something like this. So this shape is the cap. How high this shape is generally the cap height. Now, why is it important? It's because it decides how the sleeve fits into the body. So we have sleeves that fit like this, like for dresses. There are sleeves that fit like this, like for shirts. And then there are sleeves that fit like this, like t-shirts. Now, understand here that if I make a dotted line from the armhole, for this is the cap height. For this one, this is the cap height. And for this is the cap height. What does it signify? It signifies that the higher the cap height, the closer the sleeve is to the body. The lower the cap height, the away is the sleeve from the body. Here we are making the basic sleeve. So basic sleeve essentially looks like this. So basic sleeve or dress, sleeves which are made for dresses, blouses. For this, we take this measure calculate cap height as arm sky by 3. This is for shorts, menswear shorts, your short dresses, kurtis. For this, we take arm sky by 4. This is for t-shirts. For this one, we take arm sky by 6. So in this case, we take arm sky by 3. So whatever my arm sky that comes here from armhole for plus back armhole, I take from here, from the top, and I mark that distance. So at that distance, I will draw a perpendicular line. At this point also, I will make a small perpendicular line just to keep some reference. Now I will take this arm sky measurement, divide into, so this one is arm sky cap height. This is equal to arm sky by 3. Now I will take arm sky and divide it by 2, and I will mark it like this wherever it intersects with this level. Next, we're going to take this pattern and divide it into this measurement and divide it into 4 equal parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. So both the sides we divided by 4 equal parts. Here, the top 2 parts we go out. The second ones also we go out. And for the bottom 2, we go inside. Now, how much are these measurements by which we should go in and go out? That is how we will divide will decide the shape of the pattern. Now here, you have to understand that we look at your bodice blocks. Your front armhole is smaller and much more deeper, and the back armhole is, you know, less slopey. So hence we will make, so this side we are going to make the front, this side we are going to make the back. So we will make this one a little more slopey, this one a little less slopey. So this one we will take out by 3 by 3. This is by 3 by 16. And this one we go inside by half. Here we go out by 5 by 8. Then 3 by 16 and 3 by 8. Now I'll take the French curve and we'll have to place it twice. Once like this, another time like this. So we are placing the French curve once like this, another time like this. Here also we will place it such that once it's like this, another time it's like this. So this will create a curve which looks something like this, taking this as the guiding point. Now at the top of the bottom of the leaf, we're going to make the uh, base of the opening of the sleeve. So to make that, again, we will make a straight line, a perpendicular line here. Now we will take this measurement, reduce from here, we reduce it by 2 inches and mark it here. So from here to here, this is 2 inches lesser than this. Again, from here to here, it is 2 inches. So these two are essentially equal. These 2 inches less than this. Okay, join the lines. And this completes the tree pattern. Let me just cut it out for you first. This is how the sleeve pattern will look like. Now, the things that has to be written on the sleeve pattern first again, mark on the sleeve pattern. First, of course, is the grain line, which is straight to the center of the sleeve. We write basic sleeve because it's front and back together. So the side and the bottom cut, we mark a single notch. Here we mark a double notch. This will ensure to identify this as front and this as back. This was size 8 again. And this has to be cut twice because of both the sleeves on both the sides. So this completes the marking. So this completes the basic pattern set, the sleeve, the bodices, front and back, and the skirts, front and back. So this is something that we'll have to make. Just give me one moment so that I connect my device.
Yeah, so these are the three patterns that you'll have to make, and these patterns uh, has to be so you can make the patterns, take photos of them, and make a complete Word file wherein you can paste the photos with the proper naming and everything, and you'll be emailing this to me uh, before 27th when we have the next class. Uh, my email ID is I'm writing it on the chat box wherein you can send me the email to wherein you can send me this assignment. Now I would also show another file today, which is so this is the pattern making part of the assignment. We are also going to have a small assignment for the scene types, which is for the same part of the assignment. So let me just share the screen. Now for this one, if you have a sewing machine, then you can do it through a sewing machine. Otherwise, you can do it by hand. Now, this is the you can take screenshots for this. There are the seams that you will have to make. Now, what are the seams? First is a plain seam. So yes, in the yesterday's class we were talking about what seams are used where. Um, so, so basic seam types that are there. Let me just switch on my camera and I'll show you some samples of the seams also. So, starting with the plain seam. So this one is a plain seam where you can see there are two fabrics. So the two fabrics which are just placed together, and a single stitch has been made on it. This one single stitch has been made on it. This one is called a plain seam, and when you open it up, you get the finished look, which looks clean on the side. So this is a plain seam that you'll have to do. Now a plain seam, when stitched on the top, is called a top stitch. See, this one is a French seam. I'll show you a sample of this also. So this is a French seam. So you can see here, this is how the French seam looks like. So from the right side it looks very clean. On the back side also there is no raw edges. In the plain seam we still have raw edges here. This entire side is raw edged, but this one doesn't have any raw edges. So we first take the wrong sides together, do this small stitch, turn it around, and then we do the second stitch, which is this one. This smaller stitch will not be visible once the entire uh, stitching is done. So this is a front seam. There can also be a weld seam, which we wherein you can first do this seam and then this one. Uh, this is a Plattenfeld seam, so this is like you know commonly used in our denim inseams. So you can see. So for this one, the wrong sides are stitched together first. So the wrong sides are placed together. We stitch through a plain seam and then we turn it again and then we stitch it. So if you can see this is how it is done. So first this one stitch is done and then it is turned again and this stitch is being made. And this is a pipe seam wherein we insert a piping inside the plain seam inside. Now for the seam types, we'll cut out small fabric pieces. Now, this fabric length can be, so here it is 10 inches. This is hardly, the smaller ones are hardly 4 inches. You can cut out 4 by 10 inches fabrics, iron it properly, and make any three seams. So of all the seams that we have spoken about, you can make any three seams, a plain seam, pattern seam, or flattened seam. Either way, you can make any three seams, and again take pictures of that and send those uh, pictures through the email in the same. And then when you're sending the pictures, please do paste it on a Word file so that it remains in one file all together. Ensure that you write name and your uh, enrollment number on the submission, and that's how you can submit it. I hope things are clear. You can submit it through my email in the next session that we have. So the next session for this subject we have on 27th. Please submit this before 27th, and in the next session we're going to take the same patterns and talk about a little bit of how production patterns are made, how a little bit of variations are done. Uh, but for now, for the assignment, you'll have to submit the working patterns of the three basic patterns that is the part of this course curriculum. You can follow either the technique that is there in your um, practice book or the technique that I saw showed today. Either one is fine.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, can we get the recording of the lecture which have given by
I
you today?
I am sure that class this RC has taken the recording and they can upload it on the drive. RC is in the meeting itself. RC Bhubaneswar. Um,
Yes.
I'm sure they are hearing it. I'll ask them to upload it in the drive as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, there are Google. I think if you go to YouTube, there are older videos of this also of the same session. You can follow that also, but then otherwise, I can ask them. Yes, any more queries if there is there? Otherwise, we can end the session.
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you in that case.